Oh, hi guys. Had an awesome day today. Was domestic. Went to Muay Thai. Ended up staying for a phenomenal wrestling seminar, which I know is so out of my realm of comfort, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get this opportunity again. And I feel like I have to keep saying yes to things, which is awesome. Of course, it's also exhausting because I'm on my way to another event right now and I'd rather be in bed. But it's life. I figure realistically, I'm tired now. Gonna be tired tomorrow. I mean, mostly speaking with the kids, I'm pretty much tired all the time. So if I'm tired anyway, why not go out and have some fun? A little bit, at least, hopefully. Yay! Oh, so I'm gonna do that. But I wanted to make a quick video about crisis crossovers because we don't talk about it. Or if we talk about it, we talk about it in such a monumental sense that it makes it seem, I don't know, scary. Honestly, yeah. It's not a skill that I brag about. In fact, it's very rarely something anyone I've ever heard any other advancedly skilled medium discuss, frankly. I've heard it discussed as an overview, when you go somewhere where a huge event has happened, plane crash, war, Gettysburg, I mean, really, and they talk about crossing people over, and it's like, you get into a lot of moral stuff there. It's not our job to cross people over, A, against their will, because it won't work anyway, and B, unless they ask us for help, which is kind of why, a big part of why mediums are in fact here. Hello, I'm here. So crisis crossovers are not typically a group thing. When people think of traumatic events, it normally is a group thing. But most crisis crossovers are really a very personal one-on-one thing. And it doesn't have to be famous people, it doesn't have to be someone you know. For the most part, it will be people you don't know. I've had 2 people I know that I've crossed over, and both of them I was like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. Just because it hits a little too close to home. And I know that that's the selfish human part of me saying that. I'd rather cross over 1,000 people I don't know than one person I do, because it's emotional. It's draining, it's realistic, and for the most part, I want to think about life and laundry and groceries and not dead people, unless I'm the one going home, because really, being connected to the other side means that sometimes we get a little jealous of the people we cross over. Why do they get to go home? Oh, I know I have a million other things I have to do in this life, but I really miss home. So there's that level of human selfishness. I know. When I say crisis, people are going to think of all sorts of different things. Suicides, drug overdoses, car crashes, anything immediate where a soul would not have a chance to realize what's happening, which our brains, would not have a chance to realize what's happening. When crimes are committed, brutal things. And I find that the only time that I've ever had that Sixth Sense gory dead people thing is with crisis crossovers. And I think that's simply because they don't remember. They remember that last point in time, and that's kind of what they hold on to, because that's their last memory. If I were to ask you to think of the last time you were really in pain, I bet some of us are reaching for scars or rubbing, and being like, oh man, that appendix sucked, dude. I remember that appendix. I remember how I felt at the moment when it was intensely painful. And so that's what they remember. It's a thing. It's all right. Forgive me. I find that people don't talk about it because it's a very intense intensely personal and emotional experience. Whenever I had the opportunity to cross somebody over, which I haven't for a long time, so this is like my first one back since the kids. Yay! It teaches us a very personal lesson as well. So it's kind of like you're matching up with someone that needed to learn a lesson, and you end up learning a lesson as well. So I guess it was 4 or 5 days ago, there was a young woman, and like second year college, third year college, very young woman, and she was yelling at me for using Ziploc bags with the kids' snacks for the day. And I was like, you know what? I looked into the environmentally friendly snack bags. A, they're expensive. B, they're rumored not to work nearly as well. And let me tell you, Ziploc is a lifesaver in a ton of situations when you're a mom. I told her exactly how I felt, and I got guilt tripped. And I'm like, okay, really? Why are you here? Because I have enough mommy guilt. I don't need additional mommy guilt. I was like, I understand that this is important. So clearly, a hardcore environmental feminist, and I love that. I certainly relate to that. Sorry guys, the camera holder is totally shaking. But I was like, are you visiting? Is there something I can do for you? What do you need? And like, she just talked, like not like constantly, but like, she informed me about all sorts of things, and the plastics, and how the land, there was stuff that there was no way I'm sure that I don't know these facts and figures. That's how I know, obviously it's not from me. So just so you know, I'm going to be using less paper towels, and I'm totally looking into the environmentally friendly Ziplocs, but I'm supposed to look for the beeswax covered linen. I wrote it down because she made me write it down. And she reminded me that all it takes is one person to encourage other people to make a change, and that is how revolutions start. Is if I say, hey, I don't really use paper towels very often. Honestly, I'll grab a dishcloth and just wipe the entire counter down. I could clean a house with several dishcloths, and like that's the point. You wash them and you reuse them. I'm not big on paper towels, but I do use one in Dean's Lunch Daily, and it's like the half sheet, you could put something else in there that's reusable. I'm like, yeah. Fine, because I need more laundry. Oh gracious, I know. Line dry. There's a lot that I've learned. And I realized that even though it is inconvenient for me at that moment as a person changing, because someone else was pointing out something that I'd heard about, probably saw, that the change was entirely possible. I had to make the decision to change, and I had to, actually do stuff and be happy about the environment. And I was like, dude, I still have to wash all these baggies. It's a lot of water. My big thing is water lately. I don't know why water, which is weird because I'm a fire sign, but whatever. Water. So we had a discussion about that, and let me tell you, she had a lot to tell me before she was ready to leave. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that there are some things that we don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that I should be using environmentally friendly versions of Ziploc bags, or else I'm a terrible human being, because the environment isn't for us, it's for our children's children, and their children, and their children, and their children. And shame on me for being so selfish and hypocritical. So she was right, don't get me wrong, totally right, all right? So I'm trying to be more open-minded and set a good example always, for my kids and their kids, and start a conversation. It's almost been 10 minutes, and she talked to me for forever, so and then when she realized that I was listening and willing to implement changes was when she was like, I know that I've made a difference. And I don't think that she had made a difference previously. I think that me starting out the week essentially as Ziploc bags are life. Leave me alone. Leave my Ziploc bags alone. And ended the week with, all right, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to make changes. You're right. I should be doing these things. I don't know why I'm not doing these things. You know, I just need to reevaluate how I do things and change them to make it more environmentally friendly. You know, we shouldn't be using plastics. We should be using glass. Plastics suck. Plastics aren't good for us. I know that. Everybody knows that. We still do it because it's convenient, because it's easy. And we should know better. We do. Like, we should. We do know better. There's research. But, so yes, she was happy that she made a difference. And so, I wanted to share that because I'm spreading the word. Good stuff. Revolution. In a good way. Green revolution. And I wanted people to know that she touched my life by, A, being ridiculously stubborn. It's so me. So very me. And pointing out the truth even when it wasn't easy to hear. So I will be ruminating on that probably for like another 2 weeks for my brain to be like, how else did this affect my life? How else did this touch my life? What should I be doing? And so I've been saying yes to more things, to more opportunities, because, you know, every opportunity is a chance to make a difference. So I'm on my way to dinner with friends that I haven't seen in a long time. When my body is exhausted, that's okay. I'll be tired tonight. I'll be tired tomorrow. I'm not gonna stay out late. But just the idea of missing out, you know, I'd rather have a little regret that I lost out on sleep than regret the fact that I missed an opportunity to see people that I love. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So, we started with crisis crossovers, ended up with an environmentalist, got uncomfortable, changed my mind, changed my life, and am already a better person for knowing her in spirit. So, crisis crossovers are awesome. There aren't a lot of people that do them. It's not something that we talk about because it really is very personal. The lessons that they teach us in leaving change us permanently. They do. Not always in a good way. I've had crossovers that leave me devastated because of the violence, because of drugs, because of people taking their life. And it's not an easy crossover, and you have to look things in the face and pick things apart to figure out, okay, what do you need to resolve before you get to go home? You know, I probably got penance at some point, but, you know, what do we need to get through? And that heart of the issue almost always is a mirror reflection of something for me. And so it is very intensely personal. And while it's easy to talk about, you know, groups dying, kind of, because it's an idea. We weren't there. We aren't personally affected. And even if we are personally affected, it's usually a friend of a friend or somebody I knew that knew somebody. So it's easier, far easier to discuss that than a young woman that came to me out of nowhere and changed my life. And I hope in some way that someone will say that about me one day. So that's pretty meaningful to me. All right, I love you guys. I'm going to go lighten my heart because now I miss someone I never knew. And I hope you've learned something. And I hope if you do crisis crossovers that you know that you're not alone, even though people don't really talk about it. And if you don't do crisis crossovers, that you're a little grateful you don't have to deal with dead people at 2 o'clock in the morning. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.